So it's pretty much monsooning outside today, and like pretty much got a S2000 with no top on it, another S2000 with no top, RSX with no window, and a truck that can't go outside. So just kind of waiting the storm out, but figured I'd make a video on this car. I just recently acquired it from a customer. We put it together for him several years ago, and has a bunch of good parts, but it just kind of sat around in his garage, and life got in the way. You know, new kid, all that good stuff, and I guess he got tired of it sitting around, so it ended up here, and I don't know, I don't necessarily have much of a use for it, but figured give me an opportunity to tinker with it, play with it, and I don't know, I could probably make 2,000 different videos, different things with it. So figure I'd give you a rundown of it and kind of where I plan on starting, and we'll go from there. So it's a EG hatchback, obviously B-Series swap. Currently has turbo kit we did for it with the comp turbo 6262. Actually still has all the air conditioning stuff. M&W Pro 10 ignition, that's the MSD coil. I don't even remember where the box is mounted, probably down under the bumper. Typical Victor X injector dynamics, thousands. Welding regulator. I don't remember what fuel pump's in it. Probably like a 255 or a 340. Either way, it's not small enough or not big enough for pretty much anything nowadays. Normal catch can. Currently has Honda S300 in there, which can do a bunch of videos on that, but eventually plan on putting another ECU in it. Got the world's worst blue interior. I don't know what Honda was thinking with that. NGK wideband. Inside's pretty stock. It smells like it's been sitting for a while, kind of like musty. I don't know, kind of smells like, I don't know, Abraham Lincoln's farts or something. So I gotta get an air freshener. Whole bunch of spare parts. The whole back is filled with all kinds of spare parts. I haven't even had time to go through it yet and see what's actually in here. So we'll see. Maybe there's some goodies. It has a full 3-inch exhaust we made for it, which is nice. All those up pipes and stuff get pretty annoying pretty quick. So I guess from sitting, he said that he drove it the first time in a few years and had a little misfire to it, so I got to diagnose that. Odds are it'd probably just be spark plugs or old gas or something. I don't remember exactly how much power this car made. I think it was around 500. It was my old Dynapack dyno. I sold it, so I actually can't go back and look. He might remember. Yeah, it's got Golden Eagle did the short block, Synchrotech did the trans. It's got a RLZ head, Pro 1 cams. So it's definitely got some decent parts. You know, I wouldn't say I'd try and make 1,000 horsepower on this motor, but it's enough to have some fun with. Again, for what I plan on doing with it on the dyno, it doesn't need to make a million horsepower. All that's going to do is wear things out and break it faster than if we keep it a little more tame. So I guess where I'll start on this is we'll do some Honda videos. I explain a lot of things to a lot of people when we tune the cars. You know, the guys that kind of actively want to make some changes on their own. Explain everything 2-3 times, and then you know, they're excited and getting ready to head out and all that good stuff, and maybe a month or two goes by before they get around to, you know, actually playing with it, and they forget everything that I told them. So then there's usually a phone call and explaining it again, and you get the deal. So I figure I'll make a couple videos, and that way I can just send it to customers and walk them through it again. It'll be a lot easier for everybody. Outside of that, the turbo kit that's on here needs to go, just because I'm far too lazy to work on a car with air conditioning and all that. What I want to do with it, the easier I can make it to work on, the better. So the primary goal, I guess, is just going to be to swap a bunch of parts around, do a whole bunch of like, part A versus part B in a controlled environment, same dyno, same day, and see what works compared to the other alternatives. So anything you guys are looking at to see, just comment below, and definitely try and do that. Like for example, I can't even tell you how many times I've been asked the difference between something as simple as like 2.5-inch intercooler piping versus 3-inch intercooler piping, and I've never done like a true fair back-to-back comparison, because usually you're changing intercoolers or intake manifolds or something else at the same time that you're doing the piping change. So different cams, some different ECUs, some different turbos, intercoolers, there's all kinds of stuff, different exhaust sizes. Can do some external like knock monitoring for ECUs that don't have knock control, so we can kind of visually graph it out and then audibly hear it. That's always fun to play with. Different fuels. So there's all kinds of stuff. Can walk you through some different features of the dyno as well. I guess another cool part about kind of tinkering around with this is, ever since we got to doing more domestic stuff, the GMLS stuff has been really popular, and then we do a lot of dyno rental stuff with 2,000-3,000 horsepower cars. So a lot of people have seen through all the different social media platforms and whatnot that it appears to be primarily domestic cars in here now, and I get weird messages from people like all the time, like, I wish you still tune Hondas. I'm like, well, I absolutely still do that all the time. So maybe just actually putting this stuff in front of people again, they'll won't make those weird assumptions anymore. And we do offer remote tuning, stuff like that, so I can use this car and kind of walk through how some of that works, some of the pros and cons to it. So there's just an endless amount of stuff that I can do with it without having a whole lot of time to do it. But if I do a little bit here and there, it won't be so bad. And then if I can find a little bit of time to throw a cage in this thing, then we can take it to the racetrack. But I'm sure even at 10 pounds of boost, 12 pounds of boost, it'll go fast enough to get kicked out of the track, and it's not really worth anybody's time to do that. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, if you're interested in seeing where this goes, just be sure to subscribe or whatever, and more importantly, leave some comments about what you would like to see tested, and I'll go through and whatever makes the most sense to do, in that order. I can do that. I've been doing this Honda stuff so long, I have a lot of connections with a lot of different companies and different people. So, it doesn't make sense really to buy 5 different intake manifolds or whatever it is to test them all out, knowing that you're only going to keep one. So, might call in some favors and be like, hey, let me borrow your manifold for a day or two, and so we can always do that. So if you have some stuff that I don't know, maybe you wanted to offer up, or you're curious to see how it compares to something else, let me know. And let's have some fun with it. So keep an eye out, and we'll try and get some videos rolling here soon. Thanks.